Welcome back to Shnaks, guys. We are double the trouble on this episode. As you can see, we have visitors who are going to introduce themselves.
Me first?
Yeah.
Why not? Hi everyone, my name is Tobesa Mugisha. I am the role model for Shari and Ethel. And Natasha, Shari and Ethel's mom, is my very, very good friend.
You guys have been asking me to bring my mom on the channel. So finally, she's here.
Here she is!
So guys,
The
today
queen.
we're going to do like a little conversation with them on just like, so both of them happen to be moms, and they happen to be moms of creative children. They happen to be creatives themselves, but they're moms of creative children, and we just want to have that conversation because you know how African parents can be. So we just want to see what their thoughts are, perspective, and just like chat about what it's like from our side, but also what it's like from their side. But also, we're trying to do like a young mukbang, but like we've switched it up a bit, and because we're Shnaks, we're doing it with wine and snacks. These guys don't know what we bought outside of like the wine. I'm going to show you the wine, but I'm going to show you the two surprises that we bought them that we would love for them to try and just like tell us what they think of the taste and flavor. So should we start with this? The first thing is we bought you some chocolate orange cookies.
Always
Yum.
good. Always
Really?
good.
Yum.
It's chocolate. We can deal with the orange.
You wanna?
Oh.
Let's just show them what we got. Let's just like.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I thought you guys would be like, no way.
No, but you know, chocolate makes everything fine.
But chocolate and orange is actually yummy.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. We just wanna see whether it's yummy.
But where is it from?
Now-
It's like Turkish, that's where the issue.
The second thing that we bought is we just want everyone to have a taste and try and tell us, like, I don't think anyone here has tried it before.
Yeah, I haven't.
I
Bye.
don't know why I don't trust you, but let's see. Let's see.
I'm laughing already. I'm like.
No way. There's just no way.
A sip.
Cups.
A sip.
Cups.
Take two.
Little bit of the bondo. Bondo. I don't know how to make it focus. It's focusing on me, not the bondo.
Oh man, but they get the point. You get the point. Guys.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what Bondo is?
Yeah.
This is the crowd. These are from Poland.
I'm
So
from
you
what?
don't know what to drink the bones.
What did she say?
We'd rather drink the bones. I mean, these are from Poland.
No issues with Poland. It's just that, you know, in terms of being the chocolate capital of
I
the world.
had
We chose these because we've never tasted either one.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you?
That's what I drink. Sauvignon Blanc and Rosé. Oh,
No,
you
but
said
this-
golden
the-
can?
yeah,
This is
the
exactly the same one that I always buy.
No way.
So serious.
So it's good.
Okay, so
Yes,
then
it
let's
is.
start with the rosé.
So we
Yes.
start with
Because I
Sure,
think
sure,
no
sure.
one has had
Yeah.
this rosé. The flavors.
Tell
I'm
us.
smelling in the bottle.
Uh-huh.
My first question is, like, with your children wanting to like go into the creative world or the creative industry and knowing how that has never really been like as set a path as other careers, I know you guys are both supportive parents who would let your kids sweep roads if we wanted to sweep roads, but what are fears that you don't know about that? What are fears that you had, like for you, when knowing like what your son wanted to go study? Even for you, the first time I was like, okay, I want to go do film, or him being like, I'm serious about this music thing. Are there fears that you guys have had?
I think, to be honest, fear never was one of the things that I was battling with. As a mother, watching a child grow up and understanding what is innate in them and how, you know, a creative child that manifests, it displays itself almost from, not day one, but you're seeing the way that this child is wired and doing things that they were not taught to do and that they're passionate about without anybody having to incentivize them. So the only fear is there's a point in time where you can step into that, but you actually have to finish school.
Okay.
And kind of getting them engaged with subjects that
That they feel
they're
they're not
not
even
really-
related to that
exactly.
thing, but you're like, you still need
but
to
there's
finish
you
this.
really need to finish. So just trying to push them over the next mile and the next mile and the next mile. But to me, a creative, it's just a beautiful thing to see. It's not taught, it is innate. This is somebody who spends his time doing that.
He's basically
puts it-
intentional about
exactly.
putting his own time into learning this thing.
Yeah.
Because there's no one around him who's even teaching him or
Exactly.
grooming this thing in him.
And there's nothing in the household that is building that. There's no skill set that is the same. And he's just running. And I just love just the outputs of that creativity. Like, Mom, listen to this. Mom, what do you think about this? And I'm like, how do you even do that? And to think that this person came from you and they're wired in such a unique way.
Yeah.
For me, I was just also like him, waiting for the finish line to release him to go and do what he wants to do. In terms of the stigma of speaking to other mothers who are like, so what's your son studying? Then I'm like, well, he's at a performing arts college. What does that even mean? So everyone, the engineer, the doctor, the whatever. But to me, and I think even Tash will talk about this, we're at a point in our lives where we realize that will catch up with you anyway. Even your engineer son, if he's a creative, it's going to catch up with him.
Okay.
So if you've suppressed it just so that he looks like everybody else, it's going to catch up. And it's just a waste of a long
time.
So we are at the point where we are at a point of inflection and going back in time and starting to do the things that we're passionate about now. So why not set your kids
from
off?
the beginning?
Yeah, where they're supposed to start.
Yeah, for me, personally, my story is really around creativity, finding myself, and coming from what I studied or what I was what I fell into. I did finance and accounts.
And what do you do now?
And now I'm an interior designer that I love, that I'm passionate about. My fear is not so much you being and expressing yourselves through art and creative ways. It is the world, and not so much the world, but here receiving you and accepting you and fitting in. I know that for creatives, there's many of you now out there, but I know that as far as reward and remuneration is, it's still a struggle, isn't it?
We were literally just talking about that this morning, about like how
I know that it is. And so yes, and then living here, I think it would be easier if you stayed where you were, where you studied, but coming home. And I think for you guys, even choosing to come back home and venture and try it out is really is commendable. We're really proud of you. Really proud of you.
I wanted to say something about this wine, guys. I don't know if I feel like it's citrusy or it's just that it feels a bit fizzy. Does it feel fizzy to you guys? Like
to me, it says what it does.
gassy.
It's doing what it does on the tin.
Soft, smooth rosé.
Yeah.
It's soft and smooth.
Yeah.
You guys don't feel the fizziness?
I feel it a bit, but there's something that I don't really.
Are you Bondo guys generally? Is that what you choose?
Is this a tryout for your?
Is it like a step up in your palette journeys?
Have you guys had those fears of like, I don't make music, I don't make films, I don't know, or even just like, okay, I don't know where how I'm going to help you get a job. I don't have connections in that field. Like knowing that we're on our own in this thing. Like has that been for the both of you?
I'm just one who believes that for as long in life as you build on social capital, relationship, no matter what you choose to do or what your children choose to do, for as long as you're called to that place, there'll always be an opportunity for everybody. Everybody's unique and called for a reason, so there's an open door for each one of you. I think in many ways, and Ash, we've had those conversations, when you come and you ask for advice in terms of, all right, how should I charge for this, and what should a contract look like? I think it's a little bit easier for you on that, although sometimes I also feel you don't listen, or you kind of
on
want
camera.
yes. No,
I
kind of feel that you're in a place where you want to do it on your own.
Okay,
all right. It's almost like I don't want someone to hold my hand. Let me run with this, and let me kind of learn, fall, get up. Just that I think sometimes it helps.
But also, do you know something that I feel like I don't think you know, and I feel like it's true for me as a child with parents who like I'm a big headed in that I don't always listen, guys. Like, I like to be like, I'm doing it my way, I figured this out, like my path is different.
Yeah.
But you know what gives me the confidence to do things my way is the advice that you give me. So the advice that you don't think I'm listening to and that I have like a bit of an attitude about, where I'm just like, Mom, no, in the back of my mind, that's like my foundation. That's like my basis for I'm covered, guys. I understand because you've given me this foundation and you've explained this thing to me. Now let me try it this way.
Can I just add something to the original question around, you know, the relevance of my experience or my expertise versus the path that my son is on? To me, there's something very freeing and rewarding about seeing my child on their own path.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, look at the resilience that you have. Look at the way that you're figuring it out on your own. I think that bodes so much better for your child than I'm an engineer, you're an engineer, let me connect you to my friend. Do you want to do an internship at Uncle So-and-so's place, and then let me hook you up, let me connect you. So there's this false sense of progress in your child, but somebody who's having to open those doors, who's having to figure out the path. I'm like so proud.
Your child.
I'm so proud. Like, look at you too.
Yeah,
you have to think about what is the space that you're owning in the creative world. What are you giving to people? That's not something that you follow or something that I tell you how to do. So what does that mean in terms of your entire character and your ability to navigate life? I'm like, wow. So I obviously have a huge bias towards creatives. That's the truth.
Towards
creatives. I'm like, there's something about, I was speaking to my son this morning, when we're talking about, is this going to be about mental health or is it going to be about creatives?
The conversation.
And they are interconnected simply because creatives have to feel. And then they feel more than, they feel a lot.
Yeah.
So for you to make sense of a world that is numb, that you cannot, the trade-off of you just continuing down a path that doesn't make sense to you, so you're battling and you're challenging because you can't ascribe to something you don't believe in. And that's where your creativity is an expression of you. So you have to feel everything. So I don't know how I got to that point.
No, but
it makes sense. When you were speaking, I just remembered how one of my first encounters or my first internships when I was still at uni was actually with you. Remember at Boaz when I came, and for me it was a very like eye-opening experience because I never knew that people of my parents' generation could
be creative,
understand and like I could speak to them about creative things and they could we could see things eye to eye, we could be on the same sort of like similar minded and it wasn't always a conversation of but you know this is the state of things now in Uganda. It was like this person was letting you dream, and like I think that's what speaking to creatives is. It's like as you're creative, you're not, I don't want to say you're not thinking realistically or logically, but then your passion is as like the center of your work, and so that is in a lot of conversations you have, sort of like light bulb moments that I remember having with you, and just seeing you in your craft reminded me that actually like this thing is possible.
To create, the onus of creativity is to look at something and bring it differently, which is a huge responsibility, right?
Yes,
it's a huge task. To be creative is not to just repeat or to be taught how to repeat something. It is to create something. So I think that's wow. So now if you want to be drinking, that's also fine. I was basically explaining to these young ladies that even to decide to come up with this is because it doesn't exist.
Wow.
Drops mic.
I want everyone to rate the wine. It's soft, smooth rosé. Pederberg Cellar, I think it's from Cape Town, the Western Cape, right?
Of course.
Yeah, Western Cape, South Africa. Yeah. Ratings?
Okay.
What do you think
about scale of
1 to 10?
1 to 10, I'll give it a fair 7 because the truth is, girls, I'm a sparkly girl.
Okay.
But because it's from SA hometown,
I'll give it a 7.
I'll give it a 7-8.
Where is she from? What am I missing? Oh, I'm sorry. I remember those days when you were in South Africa.
My rating is like based on it not being as chilled as I wanted it to be, and I think I'll give it like give it a 6. Give it a 6 just because.
But you finished yours fast anyway.
I was thirsty.
These are the ones that finished the food in the
restaurant.
And they're like, there was a problem. I would also rate it a 7.
Okay.
I do think, like I said earlier, it's exactly as it says on the bottle, soft, smooth. I prefer sort of a drier wine, which is why I like Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay. But this is it's a little bit on the fruity side.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah.
I think I would give it a 5. Yeah, I would give it a 5.
Just continue.
Let me explain.
Just giving
guys.
some context.
I like that it's
Giving
fruity.
some context.
I like that it's fruity, but guys, there's this fizziness I'm experiencing that no one else seems to be experiencing. That's making it a
I
bit
think she's
harsh
just
for
been
me.
drinking soda and then
No, guys, I could even see like
Did go down.
the other thing about it though is there's certain wines that I really would like to just drink, like I'm drinking wine and nothing else, and there's certain wines I really like if I'm eating a meal. I would enjoy this particular rosé with like a salad or like a light kind of meal or like something seafoody. So I think I say 5 in terms of if I was just drinking it on its own, but with food I think it would be lovely. That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
You really are
Cool
a daddy's
beans.
daughter, aren't you?
I'm trying. Hey Dad, what do you do? I miss buying wine in Cape Town. Do you know I could buy a bottle of wine every day?
Yeah.
That's how cheap it was.
You know, Shreds, guys, why do I feel like...
When you go to H&M, huh?
Okay, you know when you enter H&M and it's like a place of like same shirts but different colors. Just pass by there, the smell you inhale. It even smells the music that they play in H&M. Like,
Wait,
Thank you
can
so
you
much.
Photoshop this? You know, there's normally someone who
Pour it
comes
up, pour it
round
up,
and
and like
clever.
just
Yes.
no,
Okay,
just
Queen,
been like 5
Oprah.
minutes and
This
just
wine
like
smells so good.
Let's wait for Bond 7 and we see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Toe up from the flow up. Okay.
Can you imagine? Can I tell you guys my first experience drinking in Uganda and going out? And I didn't know anything about alcohol, so I accepted this. All I remember, my night ended with me crying, calling Jane and Kat on the phone, and they picked me up. They took me to the party where they were.
So, in my sort of, with all my intentions to support my creative child, there was some similarity between Tash giving you advice and you going, for goodness sake, mom, which is also what I get.
With
Yes,
okay.
with my son, in that you honestly don't know what you're talking about. But I'm trying to follow the story and I'm like, yeah, and why
then,
don't
okay,
you?
so-
the minute that I got into why don't you, it's like, what? So, how would you like us to support you? How can we demonstrate engagement as well as support? Like I don't get half of what
That's
you're
such a
talking
good
about,
question.
but I'm like, yeah. So my version of support is why don't you? And then to you it's like, oh, for
Oh
goodness
my
sake.
gosh, I just wanted you to listen to this thing. Just watch this thing. I think that's, you've already said one of the ways. For me, one of the ways is like, sometimes I'm like, you know when like, okay, I show you a video that I've just done and then like, sometimes I just want you to watch it and be like, wow, but you people, so you kids, so why do you have this thing in the video? Or why did you do this? Also, now why is like, I'm just like, I know that you don't mean those things in a bad way, but I'm like, sometimes just watch it and be like, oh my gosh, this is really cute. Or like, listen to like the things that I'm saying I love about it and like, ask about those things maybe.
I don't think I would go
So-
to my parents for critique
Got
on
it.
my art. Like I would go to them for affirmation.
Yeah.
They
And
need
I
to
think because
affirm
you are our
my-
first home,
Yeah.
what we want most from you is affirmation.
Affirmation.
Because if you tell me I'm doing great at something,
I know,
I'll go out and
I've
say I'm
got
going to
this.
continue, and then I'll get better at it.
So do you intentionally, and do you have mentors? Do you have a group of people with your film, with your photography, with all your ideas? Do you have mentors?
I feel like with film, I definitely have. I feel like she's a friend. Does Nicole know that she might possibly be my mentor? Than my friend. Anyway, Nicole Magabo is the person I like for anything film in my life. Like, Nicole is my person. What? AFSA. Actually, my entire life is AFSA. Like, I keep telling people they think I'm lying. I want to live in AFSA's pocket. I remember when I moved back from South Africa, I literally told AFSA, I am going to live in your pocket for these first few years of my life. Definitely, that's the person I would consider to be my mentor in many ways. Just
Yes.
sitting in her car for 30 minutes or being on set with her for a day, I learned so much without her particularly saying, I want you to learn this lesson. And I love that they're women. It really makes me feel like I can do it, guys. There's a Ugandan woman doing this. I can do it. I can do anything.
That's true.
That's how I feel about that.
And then I have a particular question for Ethel, because I know that Ethel, did you specialized in journalism, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell me, what's your take and what's your feel now back home?
That's such an interesting
what's-
question.
Yeah.
I think I knew for the longest time that I didn't want to practice. I know I've never wanted to practice journalism in Uganda. It's just one of the things I told myself. I don't think I don't know whether I have the strength to do it or the willpower, or I just don't think I would be healthy mentally if I did it. And it's one of the choices that I made deliberately. And I told myself, oh, I'm studying this, but I don't think that if I'm moving back home, it's one of the things that I'm not even going to look for work in that line. I know that there's other ways that I
can use your skill.
Yeah, I can use my, and that's why I think I still really like enjoy researching and academic writing here and there, because I really enjoy using that skill, that journalism skill, and that like those insights and that research aspect of things, because I know that it's something I enjoy and I am talented in, but I have sort of found ways to not make it my main thing here. So for example, based on my thesis and my honors, I have been working on a book chapter that is going to be based on my thesis, and I've been trying to like balance and submit that, and it has given me the opportunity to like research more and do it, but then it's not like something I wake up and do from 8 to 5. So I think the book chapter is something that I found exciting, very demanding, very challenging. I'm not okay, but yeah, it's something that I enjoy.
The girls are not alright.
The girls are not alright, then I'm okay. But yeah, I think and I'm very content with it. Like I'm not trying to, I think it's one of those things that I'm not trying to become, I don't know, like an author, an acclaimed author of like, I don't know how many books. It's something that I'm very okay with where it is right now. I'm not really, not that I have no aspirations for it, but I'm very content with
where you're at,
with where it is, and it's okay. It's fine the way it is right now. Yeah. Thanks.
I have one other question.
Yeah.
So I think, was it Shari? I don't know if it was you, Ethel, or Shari, who said, it was you. Our generation are not really in that sort of creative space, and you were even shocked and pleased to find that Auntie Tash was.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough of a groundswell of creative kids who have been allowed to pursue that path at this point.
Yeah.
So it's you guys to kind of push this forward.
Yeah.
So like, what is your vision for how Uganda can look?
Oh wow.
Like, let's start to cast that vision and make it happen. But just help us to see what it actually looks like for creativity and the arts and that kind of expression to either match or overtake.
Expressions.
Yeah, literally that's that.
Oh yes, tell us about it.
That.
Yes.
I
Whilst
think
answering my
expressions is
question.
no, it's not. It's going to answer the
Awesome.
question.
Let's do it.
So expressions, everybody. If you do not know what expressions is, check out expressions UG, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe. So a couple of us youngins started this thing together called Expressions UG, and for us it was like, I always tell the story, but it started with our friend Keith. We started hanging out together a lot, and like every time you're in Keith's car, you're at Keith's house, Keith just plays Ugandan music, and we'll just always have conversations about Uganda and the general East African region, like Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and like, how are we listening to this dope music alone? Why am I out here tweeting about Beyonce and Drake? Okay, they're great, but like, why am I talking about those people? Or even South African musicians when there's so much happening around us. So I don't know if everyone has watched this show called Colors on YouTube, but we were just like, nothing like that is being done here. Like, we don't know of a platform that literally exists just to propel the new, what we call the new wave of artists forward. And then by new wave, I just mean like the young artists within Uganda who like, they have a very new and distinct sound. Like, you can tell that it's them, but they're all still like very different and individual. But it just feels like you feel the energy of a movement, and you're like, it needs to be propelled forward. And for us, we were just like, let's create a platform for these people to express themselves, a platform where they are the priority, where their sound, their vibe, their energy, what they're trying to communicate, all we're doing is supporting them in doing that. And that's one of the things that I would like to see in like the new Uganda or going forward, is more collaboration and like networking, because I think we do so much alone in our individual ways rather than going forward together. we've been having conversations about like how South Africa has distinct sounds. Like South Africa has amapiano, and that's a whole movement. Like you will know what it sounds like, you will know that this is an amapiano video, you will know that they have a certain fashion for it, and that's because creatives in all the different fields come together and build a thing together. And I think that's one of the things that I'm hoping happens across the various fields, from like filmmakers to writers to photographers to musicians to fashion designers to painters to everything. If we could all just see that vision and like move towards it, guys, there's so much talent in this country, there's so much talent. So yeah, I think I also would love to see a Uganda with a lot more like systems and structures in place that support artists, which then supports them even just when you think financially and from a business perspective. I think I would love to see that again.
And even like how you had mentioned the whole thing about income, and how as a creative here, the way that you're paid, or the value that's put on your work in comparison to other mainstream professions is really very sickening and embarrassing. It's just like, so you like, do you think that to make a film you don't think, or you just wake up and the film is made, or it's just very, it's demeaning actually, honestly, sometimes the way that the value people place on creative work. And just to add on to Auntie Tweb's question, something I thought about like the new Uganda and how I see what I dream about and aspire to is like, I think passing on this knowledge, like creating I don't know whether it be like an education center or like a place where creatives can come and there's an exchange of knowledge, because that's one of the things that really excites me. Like sitting down with people and we can talk for like 4 hours just about like editing a video, or color grading, or like camera equipment, or colors, or angles, or things like that. And like, I think as a creative, those are things that give me life. Like if I was to wake up every day, not every day, but as often as I can, maybe even if it's like once a month, you know, people have like book clubs, or like having these interactions to help us grow. Because I feel like as a creative, sometimes it can feel very lonely, or very like, it's a very interesting profession, because if you don't have like physical interaction with people, sometimes you can feel like you're in this thing alone, and you have no support, you feel like you're the only one doing this thing. But I think creating a space that is an education center, that is an interactive center, would allow for that to be like a lot more frequent. And because I feel like I've interacted with a lot of photographers over the years on Instagram, like I have Instagram friends who I know on Instagram, and I would love to shoot with like every other month, but because of life and because of all these things, I've not like, I guess, arranged or sort out these opportunities. So I feel like having a bit more, and I guess it goes back to like also being paid better, because sometimes you even think about like, okay, the value in me meeting with these creatives and shooting, like, okay, is our work gonna be published? Like, how are we gonna get funding for the next shoot? How are we gonna, it's not a priority to me, because I'm not seeing like, there's just no, but creating a community of creatives, that's definitely something I want to do.
It's so interesting to me how like not in focus the entertainment or creative industry is in this country, because Uganda could literally be an entertainment hub. Like, even just forget supporting creatives. Do you know what it could do for the economy if like the government took the entertainment industry seriously? I think it could do so much for the economy. I also think it could do so much for our health. I think it would be a great outlet and a great experience for people.
You know, I like that you said outlet, Ash, because knowing you two and just being around a lot, seeing a lot what your generation is doing with their gifts and their talents, I know that, and I can see that it's an outlet for you to express in so many ways. Express your pain, express your challenges, express your passions. So it's just it's different platforms that allow you to speak out, which I think in our generation we really did not have. We really did not have.
So what were you guys' outlets?
That's a
Did we have any? Maybe that's the issue.
That's a good question.
That's a very, very good question.
I mean, now that you speak of mental health, which could even just be now another session. But I can't even tell you. I look at, allow me to say, your generation and how you are able to express and talk about it and say, I have challenges, I'm dealing with that. we didn't even have that space or time. Or even if we did have, I don't think we even knew.
I didn't have the language for that.
Yes.
We didn't have even the starting sentences.
Yes, yes.
To express something like
yes.
that.
Unfortunately for us, suppressed emotion and pain manifests in so many different ways. And I think we have the responsibility as in our generation and for you to see that it is not carried forward to the next generation. And that is why then, even with this tool in your hand and this platform, you need to be intentional about the message that you're exactly.
What?
Yeah.
Thank you guys
This is
so much
so cool.
for joining us on our channel. We almost didn't do this video. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I also wanted to add that you guys asked how better to support us, but I also wanted to thank both of you for you do support us in very many ways. Literally both of you, and it's very important, and it's like a blessing to have that kind of support, or to know that you guys see us the way you see us, because sometimes you wake up and you're beating yourself down because you're just like, what am I doing in my life? What is this thing? Am I even serious? What am I can't believe I chose to do this. Did I make the wrong decision? Did I make that? And then you have Auntie Twebs texting you and treating you and you're a genius and being like, let's work on this, I have an idea. Or you have mom just looking at you and being like, no, I think you work hard. I see value in you. I see worth, and that's really nice to have when you don't necessarily feel that way about yourself all the time. Thank you guys.
And creating opportunities for us. I think that's one thing I've experienced. With both of you, you guys have not only. I guess it's different for a parent to say, "Oh, your work is good." Remember how you're asking what can parents do for you? I think what you guys have done for me is create opportunities. When someone values your work, they give you responsibility.
Right.
So when you guys hand over responsibility to me and say, I believe that you can do this, go for it. I believe you can do this job, or you've given me a gig, or you've given me this and that. It makes me feel like, oh, I'm actually not half bad at this thing. I can actually do it.
And you know what responsibility is? It's a response to God's ability in you.
Did you hear that word play, guys? No, for real.
Literally. A response to God's ability in you. Bondo si jack testing.
Okay, so
They taste like they're spoiled, you guys. That's the problem.
And they're not. Imagine.
have you guys ever tasted this?
Do you want to finish?
In what context?